I'll have to thank my choir teacher from elementary school for voice projection. So Teck drilled it in 2015. They did 4 deeper holes. They were following up on a hole that was drilled in 2016, which was the first hole that identified the porphyry potential, the porphyry system. They drilled 4 holes in 2015. One of their better holes was 245 meters of 0.75 copper gold equivalent. The first question I get about that is, well, if this project's so great, why did Teck walk? Well, 2015 copper is trading just slightly north of $2, and it's Teck. They have a lot of projects in a lot of different places, and for whatever reason, this project just did not make their screen at that time. But that's the opportunity for us. We acquired this project and another project called Redton in 2020 from Centerra. As I mentioned, acquired it in 2020. This was the first year we drilled it. We drilled 3 holes in 1,500 meters. Based on the drilling based on the cores visually, we can say, listen, we know that we have met or exceeded historic drill results at Kliyul. We were able to extend the footprint to depth and to west. So now we're waiting on these results. I wish we had a good relationship like the previous presenter with the labs, but I think our turnaround time is going to take at least 3 months. We wrapped up this program in September. I'm not expecting to see initial results until hopefully by the end of the year. We also have the RDP in Redton. I'm not really going to talk too much about them, but RDP is a great project. I think what you're going to see us do is, I know already based on what I'm anticipating the results of this year, we're going to have a much larger program next year. I want to focus on Kliyul. I think we'll find a partner for RDP, and I think an important thing to point out right now, yeah, gold is doing great, but copper is doing even better. So up until January of this year, there wasn't much love for these porphyry type projects in BC. Really from the end of the last cycle, 2012 up into January of this year, no one cared about these projects. And that's why we were able to acquire both Kliyul and Redton for relatively attractive terms. But while I'm here in Europe, and I've been in Geneva and Zurich and Liechtenstein and Austria, and now I'm here in Frankfurt, our technical team, Jerry and Danette, have been meeting with various senior mining companies that are, South American, US, Canadian based, both copper focused and gold focused. We've had about 7 meetings so far, and Jerry Carlson, the executive chairman, he's in his 70s. He's been in the mineral exploration game, focused primarily on BC and the Yukon for 50 odd years. And he says, this is the strongest interest I have ever seen for these sort of projects in BC, and I don't doubt it. Copper is looking fantastic. If you're a producer from South America, you're looking at problems in Chile as far as water. And if you're in Peru, you have social license issues. And BC, as I mentioned, it's been relatively untapped for the past 10 years. All of these companies, whether they're gold companies like Newmont acquiring GT, they're looking for new exposure, they're looking for safe jurisdictions, and BC fits the bill. God, I've only covered one slide and I don't have much time left. You're gonna have to give me more. No, okay. It's not advancing, so what do I do here? So go back, quite a ways back to slide 3. Yeah, well it is now, but now I need to go back. Yeah, okay. Okay, thank you. Technology. Okay, talked a little bit about that. Share structure, as I mentioned, so I came on in January. I jumped at the opportunity. I've worked with Pacific Ridge in the past with John Brock from 2003 to 2006. I joined a company called Camplats. It was acquired by Goldcorp. I've been lucky to work for a number of solid companies over the years, 5 of which have been subject to M&A. I joined the board of Pacific Ridge in 2017. I have a long history with these people. I respect them, I trust them. And when Jerry approached me about taking on more of an executive role, I said, listen, I'd love to, but if I'm going to do that, I'm going to have to be the CEO. He thought that was a good idea. We can marry my sort of capital markets expertise with his technical expertise, so a good team. And also, I thought I was going to make a lot of money. Pacific Ridge was trading at 5 cents. It had 30 million shares issued. It had this great portfolio of projects. So market cap of 1.5 and 750,000 cash. I thought this is a no-brainer. We've done really well this year. We traded as high as 33. We've come off since June, like so many other companies. But in that time, we acquired another copper gold project, RDP. We raised $2.6 million, which included a lead order from Delphi, a German fund, and Crescat from the US. We completed our maiden drill program at Kliyul, which I'm expecting to see results hopefully by the end of the year. We strengthened our board. So it's been very, very busy, and I expect to see that continue. As I mentioned, I think we're going to see strong results from this program. That'll be a catalyst for us to raise more money. I'm already thinking about a program of 4,000 to 5,000 meters for next year. We'll be looking to amend our permits so we can get in sooner. Your exploration season in northwestern BC can be limited, so the sooner we can get in there, the sooner we can set up camp, the more meters we can drill, and I think we'll be looking to go from one drill rig this year to at least 2 drill rigs next year to get that 5,000 meters. Gives you a sense, we're in Alpine, so we're at about 1,700 meters in elevation. You know, one of the issues here in northwestern British Columbia and a lot of parts of Canada is infrastructure. It's not great, but it's not awful. It's a helicopter-supported program right now, but we're just off what's called the Ominika Mining Road. It's like a 4-lane dirt highway that goes from essentially Mackenzie all the way up to Centerra's Chemist. There's a power line. So the thought being that the quicker we can get to that point with enough success would then be to drive that 5-kilometer road up to camp so you can extend your season. It's easier to supply, it lowers your costs. Helicopters are one of your biggest costs. The sooner you can get away from helicopters, the better. Why I like the project, it's similar geologically to a lot of other copper gold porphyry deposits in BC, like Chemist, which is located to the north, Mount Milligan, which is to the south, Red Chris, and then of course I mentioned GT. Their Saddle North is another copper gold porphyry deposit, and Newmont acquired that just a number of months ago for US $311 million. So these projects are a lot of interest to gold mining and copper mining companies. I think we're going to see that interest continue as they continue to look for new project acquisitions. I mentioned some of the historic drill holes here. So the first hole in 2006 was drilled by Geoinformatics. That was the first deep hole that identified that porphyry system. Teck went in there in 2015, and that was that highlight hole, the 245 meters of 0.75 copper gold equivalent. We know we can expand the footprint. We've done that with this program. We feel there's a lot more potential to grow that footprint at the Kliyul main zone, but also at 2 new adjacent targets we weren't able to test this year that we'll look to test. And again, this is just one porphyry center along a 4-kilometer long mineralized trend. So there's a lot of work to do here. But this year really was proof of concept and to give the market encouragement that, yeah, we're onto something. We need more capital to keep looking to expand it. You can see we're in the Quesnel Trough. It's a prolific mining mineral exploration district. You know, you've got, as I mentioned, Chemist to the north, Mount Milligan to the south. A lot of activity here, and expect a lot more moving forward. This slide sort of speaks to that infrastructure. So you can see where the Kliyul main zone, it's up in a saddle, as I mentioned, about 1,700 meters in elevation. You can see that road off to the right. That's the Ominika Mining Road that serves Chemist to the north, and it has a power line. So what we do right now is we stage at Johansen Lake, and then we mobilize in from there to camp, and it's only about a 5-kilometer distance from there. But again, helicopters are expensive. The more success we have, the quicker we can put in a road, the better. Really, all I'm going to say about this slide is that, yes, we encountered copper gold mineralization in every hole we drilled. It also gave us indications that there's even higher grade copper mineralization at depth. We were intersecting bornite deeper down. So visually, our geologists would say, listen, these are deeper holes, and based on the chalcopyrite and bornite, comparing these intervals to historic intervals, they feel we're going to have better copper mineralization. The gold, we don't know. But ultimately, I think we're, at a minimum, we'll be able to match the historic drill holes, and I'm hopeful we'll better them. And in today's market, putting out an interval of approximately 250 meters of 0.75 copper gold equivalent, I think would be attractive. This just gives you a sense of what we did in this program. So you can see sort of the red intersects would be some of that historic drilling. So in the past, I mentioned there was that first hole in 2006. Up until that time, they were focused on a near-surface magnetite skarn zone. It was only in 2006 they drilled that deeper hole and got into the porphyry system. And Teck followed up in 2015. So the black lines are our drill traces. You can see we went deeper. We pushed out further to the west. It was our plan to do some additional drilling, but there were all sorts of problems there this year. There were forest fires. The mining road was shut down for a couple of weeks, so we got a late start. And our drill contractor, frankly, wasn't able to supply a drill crew 247. So we weren't able to achieve the meters we wanted, because if we did, we would have drilled a few more holes at the Kliyul main zone and also tested a few other targets. I'm probably getting short on time. How much more time do I have? 1 minute, good. I'm all right, I'm right on track. Okay. So how does this compare? This is just based off a few drill holes, but we compare it to these other deposits and mines in BC. So if we look at the grade from those highlight holes, it compares very favorably, similar copper values, but higher gold values. So overall, higher copper gold equivalency. What we need to do here is do enough drilling to make that footprint bigger, to develop significant tonnage, but with these sort of grades, a project like this would make it. And I'll just close off with Kliyul main zone, that's smack dab in the middle. We identified these two other targets in 2020 with a deeper penetrating IP. We didn't get a chance to test them this year. They will certainly be targets for us to test next year, in addition to some other targets, as I mentioned, along that 4-kilometer long mineralized trend. So it's been great time for Pacific Ridge to pivot to copper gold projects in 2020, while copper was just slightly north of $2. As I mentioned, there is much more interest in these sort of projects in BC, and I think we're going to have success with those initial drill results, which will enable us to raise the capital required to go in with a much more significant drill program next year.
Thank you, Blaine.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thank you.
2 questions. Maybe it's the audience, if we have a question here.
I'm in room 17. Come see me.
Okay, then maybe one question from me.
Yes.
When will we see drill results? When?
Yeah, so
big question
it is the question, because that's what everybody is waiting for. It is going to be the next catalyst, and everybody's waiting for them. So we wrapped up the drill program end of September. I would hope to see at least one hole that we could report by the end of the year. I think that's feasible. I don't think we'll have all the holes to report by the end of the year. Then it'll be a question of, are you going to report one hole at a time? Are you going to try to have them batched together? Yeah. But I know that the first hole is going to be just fine, but I think some of the other holes will be better. So a good strategy might be to say, well, listen, we'll just go a hole at a time. We'll get the news flow going, and you'll just continue to build on those results, and perhaps some other corporate developments, and then look to pull the trigger on a capital raise to set you up for next year.
Okay.
That's the plan.
That's good. Thank you very much, Blaine. If you have more questions, Blaine is here the whole day.
All weekend.
All weekend. Having fun in Frankfurt. Yeah. Okay. Thank you very much, Blaine.